battling cancer for about 5 years, Marissa?
Yeah, almost exactly.
Almost 5 years. So pay close attention. It'll be a great message, and I know that you'll appreciate it. Okay, Griz Peoples, please.
Well, thank you for having me here today, especially such a big week. And as Nick said, my name is Marissa Peoples. I was born and raised in Butte. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. My sisters, Quinn and Molly, and my brother Danny, who's here with me today. I was raised in a family full of coaches, so sports have always been a big part of my life. My dad's the head football coach at Butte Central. We've got a couple alumni here, right? 3 of you? And until last year, he also coached basketball. A good deal of my childhood was spent on the sidelines of practices and games with my dad. I was always involved in several different sports, but basketball was always my favorite. I was never the most athletic kid in the world. But what being around sports my entire life taught me was an understanding of what it meant to work hard and what happens when you don't. I've been asked to speak at several different events, but talking to athletes is my favorite. I know you've been told time and time again about all the lessons that being a part of sports and being a member of a team will teach you in your life. I had no idea how true that really is and how much it would have an impact on my life. After finishing my sophomore basketball season, only 8 points shy of making the state tournament, which is something the girls team at my school hadn't done in almost 25 years at that point, I was motivated even more to work my butt off in the off-season and make it happen the following year. A few months after the end of the season, at softball practice, I thought I pulled my hamstring. In the following months, my leg continued to cause me problems, and I ended up in physical therapy to treat this hamstring that just wouldn't heal. All this time, I continued to lift, do conditioning workouts, play in basketball tournaments and camps, all the while trying to convince myself that there was nothing wrong. The beginning of my junior year was getting close, and my leg was bothering me even more. It had been almost 8 months since I first started experiencing problems, and my parents, my doctors, and I finally agreed that further tests were necessary. The test showed that there was some kind of mass in my pelvis, and I was immediately sent out to Seattle Children's Hospital. When I went into surgery on October 24th, 2007, I had no idea that my life would never be the same. I woke up with my parents and my grandma by my side. My mom quietly came to my bedside, held my hand, and gave me a kiss on the cheek. My grandma followed in the same way. When my dad came to me, I looked him in the eyes and I could see that he had been crying. He took a deep breath and whispered, "It's malignant, sweetheart." The emotions that came with those words are indescribable. I was angry, confused, empty, shocked, and so many other emotions all at the same time. Within 2 weeks of the biopsy, my mom and I moved from our home in Butte to Seattle. I had a central line placed in my chest, and I was ready to start chemotherapy. I had to leave behind my family, my friends, my home, my team, and my life as a 17-year-old to move almost 600 miles away and go through something I could have never even begun to wrap my mind around. I will never forget the second the neon orange chemo began to pump into my body. That's when I officially became a cancer patient. I was able to go home for a few days for Thanksgiving shortly after my first treatment. As I was getting ready on Thanksgiving Day, just about all of my hair fell out. As a 17-year-old girl, or a girl at any rate, I was all about hair and makeup and looking just right. I could no longer convince myself that I was okay. It was real. I can't begin to tell you the kind of strength it takes to wake up every day, look at your bald head in the mirror, and have to fight for your life. Over the next 8 months, I went through the ups and downs of the cancer world, from shocks to fevers, pain, nausea, crazy side effects, losing weight, and everything in between. On April 9, 2008, I had surgery to remove my tumor, replace over 80% of my pelvis with a cadaver bone, and receive a total hip replacement. Although the surgery was successful and I was determined cancer-free, the hard part had just begun. I had to be in a full body brace for 3 months and had to learn to walk all over again. All the while, trying to experience being a normal high school senior. I missed my entire junior year of school while I was in Seattle. My main goals I set for myself while I was receiving treatment were to get home, to graduate, and to play basketball again. I worked my butt off and was able to finish my junior and senior years all in one, thanks to Coach Delaney's daughter, Missy. And I graduated with the Butte Central High School class of 2009. Although it was not the way I had originally planned, I also made it back onto the basketball court. At our last home game of the season, I suited up in my number 10, took the floor as a starter. I was still barely walking at this point, so it took me a while, but I got out there. Just as the ball was tipped, the referee blew a planned inadvertent whistle, and my sister checked into the game for me. Since we were little, we talked about the days we would play basketball together. It didn't work out exactly as planned, but it was good enough. In the fall of 2009, I moved into Dunaway Hall and started school here as a freshman. For the first time in a long time, I was finally happy. I was no longer seen as that girl that had cancer. I was just Marissa. I was experiencing a milestone in my life that most people my age get to go through. I quickly found my group of friends and was enjoying every minute of my independence. At a regular checkup on January 7th, 2010, an MRI showed that my cancer was back. The life that had taken me so long to put back together fell apart once again. Shortly after my diagnosis, my parents and I sat down with my team of doctors and discussed my options. It took me several days of thinking and lots of tears, but I decided to go through with a risky surgery to remove what was left of my tumor. Then again, on January 7th of the next year, 2011, it was discovered that my tumor had again returned. At this point, I was running out of options, and I had to beg my doctors not to amputate my leg, and to find something, anything, I could try. I qualified for a new type of radiation, and it worked. The tumor was gone. This time around, I was fighting cancer along with my mom and my grandma, who were both undergoing treatment for breast cancer, and thank God they are both doing well today. Unfortunately, my story doesn't end there. On January 17th of 2012, I heard those words for the 4th time: "You have cancer." It took a lot more begging this time, but my doctors agreed not to amputate and let me try an experimental chemo pill. Although it only worked for a little while, by the beginning of June it stopped and the tumor grew again. I'm fortunate to have an amazing surgeon that designed a surgery that had never been done before to try one last time to get rid of this thing. On June 27th, my tumor was removed, and the bone that had been replaced in 2008 was then replaced with cement. Because of the location of my tumor, my sciatic nerve was also removed, which has left me completely paralyzed from the knee down on my right leg. I will eventually be able to walk again, but I would have to learn all over. At this point, I'm cancer-free and plan on staying that way for good this time. It's impossible to try to make sense of the things that have happened to me, but I truly believe it's happened for a reason. I look back at the last 5 years. Many people would think I deserve to be bitter and angry about the things that have happened to me, but in my mind, these things give me even more reason to be hopeful. How can you not be hopeful when you've beaten the odds 4 different times? One of the main things that cancer has taught me is that you can never count on tomorrow. A huge mistake that a lot of people make, especially in the world of athletics, is counting on having time to get the things you want done. How many times do we see someone getting ready for their senior year, ready to work as hard as they possibly can to be their best for their last year? What if you don't get there? I did it. I'm lucky that I had the work ethic instilled into me, and I always pushed myself to be my best all the time. I got 2 years to do the thing that I love the most in the world, and I can honestly look back and say that I did not have one regret. I worked as hard as I could when I had the chance to, even if it wasn't the popular thing to do, especially as a girl. If you can take anything out of today, I hope you can learn to let yourself not have any regrets. Whether it's playing basketball, being a dancer or writer, or hopefully most of your cases being a football player, give it everything you have while you are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to do so. This is one of those lessons that I talked about that sports teaches you. It really does exist. I think about my journey and how much it relates to being an athlete. I had a goal. I was going to have to work really hard to get to that goal. It wasn't going to happen overnight, and it definitely wasn't going to be easy. There would be lots of ups and downs, sometimes along the way. Reaching that goal, there was going to be setbacks, but there were also going to be triumphs. You're going to need support. Your parents, your friends, and loved ones are going to need to be there for you. There will be times where you feel like it's not worth it with all the effort and the time you put in, but you stick with it anyway. Sound familiar? This is an experience that you will all face in about 48 hours. You have a goal. You're going to have to work really hard to accomplish that goal. There are going to be setbacks and there are going to be triumphs. You're going to need support, thousands of people cheering you on and encouraging you. There will be a moment you feel like giving up, but you fight through it anyway. And when you wake up Sunday morning, you'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you gave it everything you have. You won't have any regrets, and you can be proud you had the opportunity to be a part of something you love to do and that you've worked so hard. Wish you the best of luck this weekend. Give it all you got. Go Griz.
you have the opportunity on Saturday, again, to do something special, do not take it for granted. Seize the moment